Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video about Inquisitor Martyr, or Inquisitor Prophecy, or rather a lack of both, because we currently do not have patch 2.0 or Inquisitor Prophecy on the scheduled release date, as it has been delayed for, I believe, approximately a month. I think it's the 20th for 2.0 and 30th for Prophecy of June. And do check those dates, please, because they were just off the top of my head, but still. Unfortunately, it has been delayed, and as a small consolation prize, we have some information and specifics regarding what they're going to be changing, so, well, at least we can talk about that in the meantime. First up, let's talk about the stuff that we know and we've seen a few times already, and again, there are some streams out there of gameplay footage from the developers that I'll try and edit in here and there, so you guys can actually see what this looks like. But of course, the main thing is that the speed has increased. The turn speed, the animation speed, the attack speed, the global cooldown, it's all been tweaked and changed to make the game pace a lot faster. Obviously, you can tell by the gameplay it's looking fairly fluid, and it does seem to handle perhaps a little more familiar to other games of the genre, but it's obviously down to individual preferences as to whether or not this tickles your pickle. But, moving on to other things, levelling of course has gone up for a new sector. The maximum level cap will be 100 now, so some extra grinding to be done. An experience bar's also been added because now you can get in-mission EXP upon kill, so now you're actually going to level up as you kill stuff, which hopefully is going to make that grind a little bit less painful and give you a better visualization of your character becoming stronger, at least I hope. Inventory is now available during missions. I've never quite understood the demand for this. If you have a tailored build, you need to exit the mission anyway to change your skills to accommodate the new weapons, but I think during the earlier portion of a campaign, this will have some merits, as you may simply pick up something better than what you've got and just slap it on for a moment. So I think perhaps it may help with the early game fluidity for some. Perhaps it will be of some use. Power rating has also been completely removed from the game. This is an interesting choice after 4 iterations of the power rating system. It's finally going out the window. One of the things that Neocore were determined to do differently to regular games. Now you just simply level from 1 to 100, and items have an eye level which goes from 1 to 100, and you could equip things plus or minus 5 levels from your current, or that's the drop range or something along the lines of that. So far more traditional approach. And relic items have been expanded. There are now 200 relic enchants, we have been told. And as well as that, there are different tiers of relic. We also have architect relics, and we have ancient relics as well. So we have a bunch of new tiers of gear, and some of whom will have random abilities or random abilities, basically, as far as we've been told. There is also Demon Forged and Holy Enchants that are rolled onto these. So it's curious that they're not going for the sort of unique demonic item or demon forged item rather than an item with the demon forged enchant, and presumably it will be the same thing, but I'm very curious to see if they have their own skins, etc. I'd quite like to have a spiky weapon. Hey, that's just me. So obviously these weapons are going to have some better stats, and they're supposedly going to be far better, which is also nice to have. The extra tiers of gear, obviously a good thing. The game always suffered from a lack of things to grind, and with the extra enchants, that's hopefully going to make for some more build diversity, and I'm sure it won't be too long before we've cracked open some pretty OP builds again. We also have different buff categories as well, so we have Enraged, Feared, Exposed, Giggly, Focused, Berserk. So you have a bunch of different types of new buff that have basically been added to the weapons. So some nice categories for buffs, rather. They seem to be more like trigger states. Again, nice to have. We needed these quite some time ago, but they're here now. That's useful to have. More item and effect diversity will be helpful. Although I really hope that perhaps the enemies have access to a little bit of this, some fear mechanics coming from the enemies, etc, etc. Would be nice to make the gameplay a little bit more diverse, let's say, but fingers crossed for that. So crafting has also been completely changed. All of those old items and components and the complexity of putting little bits and bobs left, right and centre to make an item that was ultimately pointless because it wasn't going to be very good has all been junked now, so that's nice. Now we do have capacity to actually do some high level crafting. for a change. So that's obviously nice. And if we waddle down here, well, firstly you can see a far simpler crafting screen of just, would you like to craft this, would you like to re-roll this, and would you like to enhance this? The enhancement system will come to in a moment, because we have gems and other things of the sort. They're not called gems, but we have things we can stick in our weapon to make it much more betterer. So that's something I'm looking forward to. You can also re-roll the value of single enchant on some weapons. I believe on the very highest tier you cannot re-roll the enchants, and I believe you get a preview of the one you're re-rolling to, and you get to decline the new re-roll. So that is nice, and it saves you sitting there for half an hour and ending up with something completely garbage. So that's also very nice. Items also have integrity, which determines how many times the item can be modified. So that's a very interesting mechanic, and I guess something handy to prevent us spending all evening fiddling with a weapon to make it as good as we can. Whether or not that'll go down well, who knows? We'll have to wait and see how easy they are to customize to a point where they are satisfactory, but nice to have. Salvage also been changed in terms of what you get, and not particularly interesting, but salvage has been changed and you can get some lovely things from it. So that's all very well and good. So now we have socketing. A level 50 item will have a 2% chance for a socket, with a 0.1% increase per item level. So you're not going to have a whopping chance of a percentage of an actual socket, but hopefully you will find enough decent items with lots of sockets, and you can, for say a two-handed weapon, go up to 6 sockets, which is quite a bit. And within these, you can shove a bunch of shards, and shards can do pretty much exactly what you would expect. It's kind of like gems from MMOs. You can have plus hit points regen, damage, crit percentage, resistances of various types, suppression. Oh god, that means suppression's still here. We'll talk about that in a moment. So pretty much an extra layer of customization available to your characters, and you also have a quality level that seems to be tied to them as well, so it gives you some extra things to farm by the looks of it. Basically, you combine the shards using credits to make better shards, the higher in level, etc, etc. So basically, this is the gem system from Diablo 3. It seems very, very much like the gem system from Diablo 3. Combine them together, make them bigger, make them better, they do more things, they can go up to level 5, and this goes up to the equivalent of level 1995, and Bob's your uncle, now you can give some extra bits. So let's say, for example, you had a level 1, 2 extra hit points. Or, no, hit point regen. Level all the way up, and that goes up to 20. And, oh, wow, 600 hit points for a level 5 armor gem. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of hit points. I'm very curious to see if there's going to be more sort of soft caps, hard caps, limiting these, and if they're going to be fairly helpful and tell us what those caps are, rather than us spending loads of money to find out the hard way. That would be nice. So, extra layer of customization, it is here, it is upon us, and of course, if we have that layer of customization, we've also got something else to grind, something else to work for, and we can gradually see our character becoming stronger as we go along. So that's all very well and good. And then we have SARM codes. So they can be obtained in a similar way to the Architect Shards, but give different bonuses, so different things that you can shove in there. And of course, you can get an idea of a few here. So extra dot durations, again, just extra customization available. Damage on kill, energy shield charge, chance upon kill to reset all cooldowns. So some pretty cool stuff here, actually, to be fair. And of course, we have lots of different levels available. Overall, again, lots of customization being added to the game. So this is good. We have the skill system, we have the perk system, we have the item gems, I'll just call them, and then we have these slightly different gems, which, again, we have a little bit more to play with now, so this is good. We may have some builds that previously weren't quite so viable suddenly become viable. Maybe, who knows? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see for that. Tarot's also been changed, again, with, it seems, with a little emphasis on having something to work for now. So you can now level up tarot cards, and they now drop as loot. So now you have an extra incentive to basically grind the game and play it out and continue playing, because, well, you need credits, and quite a few of them, to level up a card. 200 cards needed to level up to level 5. I don't know if that means you need 200 of the same type. I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see. If it's just a crafting material, perhaps. Who knows? However, That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You need to spend credits in order to level them up, remember. Right, Major Arcana. And, of course, Major Arcana have two types. The cards of the first category do not adjust the mission level. The Possessed Architect Vault, the Crucible, the blah, 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 blah. We won't go through absolutely every single one of these, but as you can see, they've made some changes to the tarot system. There's quite a few of them now. If we sort of slowly go through, of course, you can have a little check of this yourself, but there are a few more for us to play with. Remember, you have the major and then two minor that you can attach to a mission, and they can be applied to any mission now. So they've done away with the old system of would you like to go on a tarot system and would you like to save up fate to do a tarot system. Now it's just you're going on a mission, would you like to make it a tarot? So that's cool. I like it. I think that's going to be far more interesting to be able to have every mission slightly customized to your own liking and to make things a little bit more challenging perhaps if you find things a little bit simple. So that's good. And now we have the Void Crusade, which is something I'm still trying to get my head around. But this seems to be like almost a replacement for the investigation, although the investigations haven't gone, but it seems to be a string of missions, only you can choose the order of said missions and the final destination, which will influence the type of loot you get, and you will get loot crates from this, and oh no, everyone panic, he said loot crates, they're going to charge Mike. No, they're not. Everyone says that. Every time you mention a loot drop of some sort, a loot anything, people are like, oh no, microtransactions. People have been worrying about that for the last couple of years for this game. Still not here. I don't see any reason for it to be. Just put that one to bed before we have another Steam post about microtransactions. But anyway, this seems to be a system where you can choose a bunch of different missions in order to then achieve a final reward, and there will be a boss at the end, and the final reward is basically a bunch of loot. So that's all very well and good, and presumably there is a little doobly-doo as well to make it slightly more entertaining. Ivory Shards are also available for players, and you can also use this to farm particular ingredients, which I believe are used to create super secret special missions. I'm not exactly sure on what these will look like yet. I don't exactly know how they will work. You could probably read through all of this and it might give you a bit of a better idea. But there are some, let's call them randomly occurring missions, or items that will drop which will allow you to go on these missions. So something nice, and I'm really hoping they bring back some more of these events that used to or seem like they were being implemented into the game during the open world stuff, if I call it that, the open galaxy missions. By that I mean anything on the star map that's not campaign. It would be nice if we had some more of those random events happening in there. I'm curious if they are adding more. Who knows? So, yeah, basically, as we were saying, there are 9 different loot caches available after completing a Supreme mission, and there's a maximum amount as well that you can get is 5, so that maximum amount of keys, a player can get is 5. As you can tell, I haven't digested absolutely all of this, because there's quite a lot to take on board, and this is actually quite exciting. It looks like there's lots of stuff. It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays. For me, this is all well and good. Like the change to Warzone, it's now more or less a gear check. There's new Warzones as well, but apparently this is not a major feature of the end game. It seems to be more to do with all this stuff. I'm kind of relieved about this, because doing the same thing again and again in a Warzone, some people can dig it, I personally can't. And we also have new Warzone hazards, so as the Warzone goes up in level, the Warzone is going to be becoming more complex, difficult, challenging, etc. So something else that's nice to see as well, they do seem to have put in a fair bit of work to include some variety and things to keep us busy as players. Now, the closing remark I'd like to say is this is all good. This is all nice. All of these new debuff icons are all very well and good. And I do have a question for you. Is the combat more varied and exciting? And I'm hopeful, because the core enemies of the last season were more interesting and engaging than some of the others. They had a few more abilities and a few more bits and bobs they did. And I think if they can go that step further again for the Tyranids and for the Elder, or the Eldari, whatever they're called these days, I think that will be a really big help. But I really, really hope that the combat basically raises to the challenge here of becoming interesting enough for us to enjoy. But guys, lots and lots happening within 2.0, and this is good to see. Remember, 2.0 is a free content patch, and the DLC of the additional campaign missions and the new class comes with the old DLC add-on, which, by the way, is part of the same client. Before people are saying that they've abandoned the old game, this has been clarified now that you can play the new one separately, as in you can buy it and play just that, but effectively it's part of the initial game. So it's an add-on that can be played standalone, but it is part of the same launcher or client. So something worth clarifying. Guys, have yourself a great day. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Going to be lots of Chaos Bane coming at you coming Friday. Guys, have a great day. See you around.